Awesome. Yeah, no, first off, thank you all for being here. I want you to know what an incredible honor this is to lead the Florida Gator program. As a young boy, this was always a dream. I told the group earlier today if they had a men's team, I would have went there in a heartbeat. So I know the rich history that it has and the success, not just with players, but championships and what Florida is, right? Florida is elite in so many different ways, and I couldn't be more excited to, have my wife and my soon-to-be baby girl be part of Gator Nation.
Hi, Coach. First of all, congratulations on the opportunity and welcome to Gainesville. I just wanted to ask first, what kind of stood out to you most about the UF job to where you spent 1 year, being promoted as a Mississippi State coach, and it just took you 1 year to take the UF job. So I just wanted to know what kind of stood out to you when the opportunity presented itself.
Yeah, I mean, coming to Mississippi in 2019, being there 7 years and to have seen the program where we started to where it is now, was something that was really special. Last year having a 10-0 perfect season, one of five teams that have ever done that, winning the SEC championship, being a number one seed in the NCAA tournament, having the rivalry that we have with Ole Miss for the Magnolia Cup, winning that 6 years in a row, and so. For me, this was an opportunity where, yes, I had just got promoted to the head coach, but I had been there 7 years and we had built something, really, really special. And, we've developed top players across the country, players that have gone now and played in the NWSL and internationally. So, there was only really two jobs, honestly, that I think I probably would have left Starkville for. This has been our home. This is the longest place I've been since growing up here in Starkville. And, one of them was Notre Dame. I grew up Catholic. I broke my mom's heart when I chose Wharton instead of Jesuit in Tampa. And then the other was Florida. And this allows me not only to go home to be around family, but it also allows you now to be truly, truly at the elite level to go after the top players. It's a brand. There's so many exciting things about Florida that, ultimately this is a dream job. This is a dream come true for me. I don't take it lightly. I know the work that needs to be done, but I am very, very excited about the opportunity.
Coach, can you just kind of talk about what your style is going to be like and what you, I guess, kind of plan to bring from Mississippi State to here?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have energy. We're going to play with passion. We're going to play with courage. And ultimately, we want the ball. We want to dominate the ball. And, it's going to be a very attack-minded team that wants to score goals. There's players on this roster right now that can score in a lot of different ways. And that's really exciting, both individually and collectively. And so it's going to be a team that's going to be hard. One of our things we're going to address with the team is hard and smart. And what that means is, we're going to be tough. We're going to play with a grit. We're going to play with a chip on our shoulder. But we're also going to play smart, right? We're going to, when we have the ball, when we don't have the ball, we're going to understand concepts and principles. And that's going to be something that is really, really exciting. We're big into data. We're going to look a lot into the data and the trends and certain concepts that we feel allow us to continue to improve. It's performance early on over results. And our identity is going to be clear, not only when teams play us, but when fans come from near and far to come watch the Florida Gators.
And then to follow up, just what do you kind of foresee your recruiting footprint? How do you kind of juggle the local with the international? Just kind of that whole picture.
Yeah, so in Mississippi, in Starkville, you need to cast a pretty big net, and so that has allowed me to, really, really understand the landscape here domestically. I've got a number of recruit or contacts in the recruiting world that, obviously we brought some pretty special players to Starkville, but it was more about really developing them. This now allows, I mean, the amount of coaches that have reached out in just a short amount of time, players that have reached out that are top level players. It gives you an opportunity now to take the recruiting to really the next level, which is ultimately elite. One of my staff members that we'll be bringing in is heavily involved in the recruiting international landscape. We had a player that was committed to us from Barcelona, and so we're going to look to see how we can go into Spain. We had a Japanese national team player committed to us. So the international landscape is going to be very, very important as well. And being now in Florida, it's a much well-known state, a little bit easier to sell than Starkville, Mississippi. So we're going to definitely encompass both of those and make sure that, the players that we're bringing in ultimately fit the style that we want to play.
Coach, with the rich history of Florida soccer, how will you lean on, the past players and kind of inviting and kind of open door policy for return players and leaning on that in the recruiting because you've got nationally recognized names that have won championships here at Florida.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely. I mean, I was going to reach out to obviously Becky Burley to say today when it came out, but she sent me a text last night late, and I said so. I immediately called her, and she was on a flight and she was traveling, and so we kind of went back and forth, but leaning into to Becky. Obviously she was, she built this program from scratch, has an unbelievable amount of success. I've got a great relationship with Becky, and really want to lean into that, right? How can we? And I think we're going to meet next week about now how can we not just include the alumni, but really resonate with them. How can I get in front of them and let them know how much this means to me? I want there to be open door policy. I want there to be collaboration. Anything that they feel will help get Gator Nation continue to get better. I want to be a part of, right? You have the Abby Wambags, Heather Myth, Daniel Fotopoulos. Like there's so many incredible players that have gone through this program, and having them as a resource, not just for recruits, but even for our current players to help them understand some of the things that they went through as players, is incredibly valuable.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, Coach Hunter Zabarski, WRUF. In terms of the roster, there's a lot of talent on it, but the transfer portal open. Do you plan to go into it to fill any holes in these next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you take over, right, there has to be some tough decisions to be made. You've got to figure out, what is it that you're looking for, and the identity and the style that you want to play. And then the job is to try and do our best to navigate in the short amount of time how we feel we can help improve the roster in a way that we want to compete right away. And it's abundantly clear the expectation here is to go and compete for national championships and championships in general. So that's part of my job, as the leader of the organization, is to, have these conversations with these players. And then ultimately, once I get done this, it's going to be, again, back on the phone, talking to players and figuring out what are our next steps. But, this is something for me that I did it last year. Now, the only difference was I didn't have to move. My wife wasn't pregnant, and I knew majority of the players, but I've got a good plan for how we want to attack things as we move forward, just because of the chaos right now that is ensuing.
Yeah, and how do you plan to build a pathway from the Gators to the NWSL or to Europe based on your
Mhm.
experiences playing like them?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the opportunity to help develop, Macy Hodge last year, Allie Perry this year, both of whom, Macy right now is playing at Angel City in the NWSL. So my contacts in the NWSL has allowed me to help, the Allie Perrys of the world as they come through this. And, that's something that's really, really important. I think I spoke to almost every NWSL, either GM, head of scout, regarding certain players this year. So already having that pre-established relationship certainly helps. And they know I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to let them know straight. But we want players that ultimately do have aspirations to play at the next level. And that's ultimately an avenue that we can absolutely explore, both internationally and here domestically.
Coach, you talked earlier, you know, um, you're starting a new family and so forth, but why Florida? And during the process, what made Florida the right fit for you, whether it's facilities, academics, opportunity to win championships?
Yep. No, that's a great question. I mean, this was honestly really one of the hardest decisions I've had to make, just because of the community, the people. This is where I met my wife. We're going to come back here to have the baby. And then obviously the players, right, in the administration and the support. So this was a really, really tough decision, and I didn't take it lightly. But ultimately, being closer to my family, having them a part of my baby, my baby's growing up is massive. And then on top of that, you look at Florida. You look at Elite, you look at the facilities, you look at the academics, right? It's a top academic institution. You look at Jordan, right? The brand, the eliteness, Florida's the only SEC program to win a national championship, right? So there's so many exciting things that, and now especially with this new landscape with all the media and exposure, Florida is a place that you can really, really not just sell, but you can really see players that are genuinely interested in becoming a better, not only player, but person, ultimately, more importantly. So this was, for me, it was, like I said, it was really hard because there's so many variables to consider. But ultimately, at the end of the day, as I said, Florida for me was always a dream job. And to have the opportunity to be here is pretty surreal.
And what's it going to mean to you just to tap into the coaches that are already here, just from other sports? I think one good thing here at Florida is just there's so many good coaches, whether it's Mouse at track or Coach Golden. Just how excited are you for that opportunity for your leadership to grow?
Oh, absolutely. That was one thing here at Mississippi State that we had such a close knit, coaching staff, in terms of the athletic department, and that was what was echoed when I came to Florida was how close all of the coaches are. I mean, a number of them have already reached out to me. They've been awesome. Coach Mandy lacrosse, like she's a rock star. I met with her for about 5 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, I like her a lot, and so. She sent me a text that, I can't say out loud, but there were a lot of emojis and there, let's just say it was a let's go kind of thing. So, I'm pumped to get around coaches that are elite where I can learn and grow, bounce ideas off of, and, really, really excited to kind of be a part of this.
Right. Anybody have any questions for Paloma?
Well, I'm just super excited to have Nick coming to Florida. I've known Nick for a little bit, and for him to just come and be able to lead us, I'm super excited. I know the girls are super stoked, and I'm just ready for you to get here so we can just start because I know we're super excited.
What's the excitement? What's the style of play? Or just why are you excited to see how this transition goes?
I'm really excited because when we had our meeting this morning, he came in like, "Let's go, let's do this." He made everyone want to run through a brick wall. I've already gotten so many texts from the players like, "We're ready to do this." There's going to be like a clear identity, which we are very excited to have because I feel like we haven't had that, and for us to come to that, we're all just going to be like, "Okay, this is what we're doing. This is how we will win games," and we if we do that day in day out, we will get results and we will ultimately win the championships that we want to win.
You kind of touched on it a little bit with the last question, but as you kind of, talk through the team, especially during the coaching search process, from last year to this year, what do you think you guys kind of are going to be striving for as you head into 2026? And what do you think that, sorry, basically, what kind of goals have you guys, started to set for yourselves as you head into, this new season with a new head coach?
Yeah, so we were really excited to be in like being a contender to win like the SEC. It's not just getting into the tournament or just about getting there. It's really being in it and being very competitive and Nick was 10-0 and we really do hope to be undefeated like just like that. We know what we have to do. It's not going to be anything easy. We know like what our standards are and we're ready to implement the new standards that are coming in. But yeah, it's really just winning those championships, getting to where we know Florida can be because everybody here has that goal and we all love Florida and we know that we can make it there. And with Nick, we just know it's even more possible, of
Thank you.
course.
Is that kind of half the battle where knowing it is possible that things can be accomplished here at Florida and then bringing in Nick, coach of his caliber, that anything is truly possible here at Florida?
Oh yeah, of course. I think it really just it's lifted everybody's I guess spirits. We all know that yes, it is possible and that Nick will work us and that we do want to be worked and challenged and that's who we are as players and as a team, as a family here. And we're really excited. That's all I can come back to is the excitement of him getting here and us being together in the spring and the summer and going into the fall of beating some teams up.
She says that now, but wait till they really get to work.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Nick, when you hear her talk about the excitement and the willingness to work, just how excited are you just to have the opportunity to kind of coach a team that is ready to work and ready to win championships for you?
Yeah, I mean that's the standard, right? I mean our standard is the standards are going to be pretty clear, and they're going to be, I told the team this morning, you're going to set the standard, then you're going to protect the standard, and then you're going to stretch the standard. And right now we got to set the standard, and ultimately, that is going to be uncomfortable at times, right? We're going to work hard. We're going to work harder than they've ever worked, and we're going to do it with love in our hearts and joy, and it's going to be fantastic. And so, obviously, I've known P for quite a while, but she had 88 saves against us this year. But we're looking at a group that has to have the same passion that myself and then my staff has, because ultimately they're looking at me. If I come into that zone, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. They're like, what's going on? Like, this is who I am. And who I am, I want my team to reflect, and I want the program to reflect. And ultimately, we are, Mississippi State never won anything, right? And so ultimately, I know what it takes. I know when to push, I know when to pull, but also it's a lot of it's about believing. It's changing your mentality. It's understanding that, if we do the right things, things will take care of itself. And so for me, that's kind of, always been my motto. As I grew up, was I'm a die standing kind of guy. I'd rather die standing than live kneeling. I want to go for it. And ultimately, I'll always going to believe in what my identity and who I want our DNA of the group to be. And if you teach it and you can do it the right way, you can articulate it, and you have a group that will run through a wall for you, then special things are going to happen.
Yeah, real quick, Paloma, what particularly excites you about Nick's attacking style of play?
So I don't know a whole bunch but obviously we haven't had the chance to work together or really anything for real as a team. But just honestly, like his presence over the phone, it's something that I haven't seen like since I've been here really, and it's someone that I know everybody will respect and look towards, and like we will look to Nick to lead us, and we'll all look to him and be like, let's do this. I was telling someone that to me, Nick is like the Messi for Argentina because Messi walks forward and we're all behind him. So that's really what I think it will be, and it gives me shivers because I just know the potential. It's there, and like the sky's the limit.
And Palumbo's going to touch like a lot of the ball in our system. Palumbo's going to be a playmaker.